Question of the day. What's your favorite unique game? A game that does something that nothing else does. Maybe like a nyctophobia or even a time stories could fit in that category. What's your favorite game that does something that is totally unique and different that when you say it, it instantly pops in memory? It's not like, oh, is that the one that does this, this, or this? It's like, oh yeah, that's the one where you do the crazy stuff, right? Because today we're talking about The Initiative. It's a blank there, but The Initiative from Corey Konieczka. This is a great, I probably butchered his last name and I apologize. This is a interesting game because it does something totally different, totally unique in the sense that you are playing a kind of unscramble mini game each mission while you're playing a move and collect thing on the board. And we'll talk about how it plays, what it does here in just a second. But in the comments below, let me know what's your favorite totally unique game that nothing else quite does what that does. So this is the initiative setup. This is the first mission, so there's no spoilers out here. But what I do love, there are secrets within the game. You've got your secret deck here. You've got mission 1 set up with this nice little board. This is where the secrets are, and we'll talk about this in a minute. The setup for the actual mission is back here. It shows you how to set the game board up. So you set 2 files, you shuffle those up. Now those might be things like symbols that you're gonna need, or they might be traps. And so these are the symbols that you're going to need to use to discard to uncover what this message is, because that's the point of this mission. For instance, this one corresponds to that symbol right there. So if you discover this through one of the actions, you can then figure out what the answer is. And at any point in a mission, you know the answer to the question over there or to the problem over there, you can solve it and beat that mission. But it comes with this really great comic book here. It is a game inside of a game. So you've got all sorts of things here. Not going to show you inside of here, but you've got this, and then you've got the how to play the key. So you're playing the initiative in which the characters are playing the key, just so we're clear on that. But just to show you a little bit of the art right here on page 1 is pretty neat. And you read it and you do what it says, shows you the introduction, how to set it up and how to play. So what's gonna happen is while you're playing the key inside of the initiative, which is really confusing, so I'll just say the initiative from this point on, you have these 4 actions you can do. You're gonna get cards in your hand, 4 cards apiece. You also have a character out here, one of the kids, playing one of the characters in the game. So we've got Brock and then Prathna here, and they are playing as these kind of hard-boiled detectives. You're going to start up there on the board in this mission. Your goal is to uncover enough clues to where you can solve this pretty accurately, or definitely accurately, but you don't have to find every single letter if you think you know it already, which is great. Some of the clues will be numerical, some of them will be words like that, and then other times you're going to uncover information in this secret deck, which will help you find secrets that you didn't even notice were there the whole time, which is pretty great. So on your turn, you can either gather, run, intel, or regroup. Let's go through these. So run, first of all, you move up to 3 rooms. The way it works, you play an action card onto a space. The problem is, with me being a 9, there is some hidden information. You cannot tell your teammate, hey, I have a 9, I have 11, I have an 8. You can say, hey, I have some higher cards, but you can't tell them the exact number. If, for instance, you were to play a 9, you can only play a 10, 11, or 12 on top of this. So you're going to kind of want to play those cards low. However, all low cards in your hand, when there's cards out here on top of everything, is not ideal either, because then you can't play your cards. You're going to play these actions on top of, or these cards on top of these actions, and at the end of your turn, draw back up to 4. If the draw deck ever runs out, you're going to shuffle the discard pile, including these watches, into the deck. After a certain number of these watches show back up, you will lose the mission. The other way to lose is guessing wrong, obviously. So moving, you move 3 different spaces, 1, 2, 3. Intel is you can choose a room and reveal up to 2 clue tokens in it. So let's say we choose this room. You can then flip these over and show what's here. So we have a camera, which there are a list of negative features right here. I'll show you those in the rule book. Security cameras, keep this in the room. At the end of your turn, you must discard 1 card from the top of the resource deck for each security camera in your room. Could technically be 2 based on just math. You're going to do that, and then you also have this symbol. You'll check over there. Do we need that symbol? No, we do not need that symbol. I like to kick them off the board if we don't need them, just to keep it clear what you need to do, because if they're face up, it's obviously information you need anyway. That's intel. Running, we covered. Gather is you collect up to 2 clue tokens from your room. This could be blind, or it could be ones that you know. So if you're in a pinch, you need to just gather. You can gather blind, but you might end up with something like a security camera, or worse, somewhat like a smoke, this gas here, and stuff like this will affect you. There are other bad things that will cover these actions, and you can't do that action until you regroup. So, speaking of regroup, the last action, choose any other action card and discard all resource cards and tokens on it. So that's the way you clear a card. If regroup gets up to 12, you're messed up, which is why I always recommend playing with Brock, because he can then mitigate that. Use the ability on any action card, even if there's a token on it. Then discard the top card of that pile and all tokens on it. So you can still do an action even if it's full, and then you clean it up and get those tokens on there that are blocking you from doing it. That's the game in a nutshell. Obviously, this is just mission 1. There are a whole bunch of missions over there and that give you things out of the secret deck. There are things to uncover and find. Kind of like a board game mixed with time stories in a sense. There are certain little secrets you're just going to go, oh wow, I didn't even notice that. So that is the initiative and the key technically. So that's the initiative. Interesting game, right? First and foremost, it does something unique. It does this whole like solve the puzzle every time, but in a way where you have to go around and collect stuff. Now, as the wrinkles get heavier and heavier and more intricate and more interesting, that's always cool too, because it builds in complexity. You know, suits don't matter at the beginning, then they start to matter. All those little things are great. Let's break apart the game first, like we always do. Art direction that blurs into the gameplay itself. So those kind of 3 Venn diagram across. First of all, art. The game looks great. The fact that it has this, it's weird. So I'm a huge comic book fan, but I'm a fan of the art styles of people like Jim Lee, Jason Fabok, David French, Ivan Rice, Phil Jimenez, right? That kind of more realistic, classic comic book style that really hit its stride mid-2000s. You know, obviously Jim Lee's been around a lot longer, but that real period of, you know, Infinite Crisis and kind of that era of comics, it was just so good, right? Gary Frank. But, and I absolutely detest the style of like, you know, the modern Marvel like stuff that's out there. I just don't like that kind of cutesy pie style art. But what's funny is this game does that style, kind of that almost Squirrel Girl looking art in a way that works, and it just makes sense. And I actually really enjoyed in this game the way the art looks, because it's very fun, which again probably is the point of those comics, but I just haven't read them, so you know, fun, right? This game looks fun, and I mean that. I don't mean that in the sense of, oh, I want to play this. I mean it looks like something that is fun, that you just enjoy. It doesn't look dark or heavy or anything like that. It's like, oh, that looks fun and interesting, right? So art already looks good on the board. You know, the symbology, and we're getting an art direction now. The symbology is very straightforward. The character design is cool. It looks nice. The board itself is nice. That 2-sided board just looks good, and the way you place the pieces out there. But also the components of the game, such as the little tray that you put the secret card in. I love that. I think that's a great thing. And not only gripe is it's actually really hard to get the card down into that thing. Like it really hard, to the point where I almost bend the card every single time pushing it in. I'd like to see either a tip on how to make that easier, or maybe in the next edition, whatever, just smooth it out a little bit where it's easier to get that card in that flap. Again, I'd rather it be too difficult than too easy, because if it's too easy, it might show, and you definitely don't want to ruin an entire mission because you accidentally put the card in there wrong. All that said, the game looks great. The comic book that it comes with is so cool. I love that it's a comic book, not just a flip to page 93 and read section 2. It really works like a story, and I love that. So I love the flipping back and forth in the comic book. I love the secret things that you discover throughout the way. Little things that you can find hidden and decode and all this sort of stuff. Extra meta to the game, I should say. So yes, you're playing each mission, but there are little things that might pop up. You go, oh, I bet we can use that information for this. Those little meta things are so much fun in this game. So I'm a huge fan of the initiative. I really think you will enjoy this game. If you like a Mansions of Madness, this is definitely on that similar vein without kind of the heavy, crazy story and very difficult. It can be difficult, but it's quick to play each mission. But there's that collective like, oh, what could it be? Is it this or this or this? It's like, yeah, oh, it's that because of this. And I can't spoil anything, obviously, but you're going to know as soon as you see it what I'm talking about. You're going to have those moments of, oh, I can't believe it's that. That's awesome. So the initiative is a big win for us. Huge fans of this. Go check it out. It's just a blast. So the initiative. I'm Bryan Drake here on the Dice Tower. Make sure to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, etc. at Dice Tower Bryan. Until next time.